They were built to be unsinkable, moving fortresses of steel so massive they altered the very horizon. The Japanese super battleships Yamato, Musashi, and the lethal battlecruiser Kongō, symbols of an empire that believed it could bend the oceans to its will. But then, they vanished. For decades, the final resting places of these titans remained one of the greatest military secrets in human history. The Japanese high command destroyed the blueprints. They burned the logs. They wanted the world to forget how and where these monsters died. Tonight, we pull back the curtain of water and time. We are going to the absolute bottom of the Pacific to uncover the terrifying, violent, and highly classified final moments of the ultimate ghosts of the Imperial fleet. Musashi, the ghost of the Sibian Sea. Visual, dark, atmospheric blueprint animations. Zoom in on the sheer scale of the ship compared to a human. Cut to chaotic aerial attack footage. To understand the scale of this tragedy, we must first look at Musashi. Built in absolute isolation, behind massive sizzle hemp curtains so no spy could ever glimpse her hull, Musashi was a masterpiece of destructive engineering. She and her sister, Yamato, were the largest battleships ever constructed. October 24, 1944. The Sibian Sea. Musashi was supposed to be impenetrable, but the Americans didn't bring battleships to fight her, they brought a swarm. For hours, waves of US Navy dive bombers and torpedo planes turned the sky black. What followed was not a battle, it was an execution. 1 torpedo, 2, 5, 10. Any other ship would have broken in half. Musashi kept moving, her massive guns firing into the air, turning the ocean into an inferno. But engineering has its limits. By late afternoon, after swallowing an astonishing 19 torpedoes and 17 heavy bombs, the giant could no longer breathe. The ocean didn't just swallow Musashi, it claimed her in total silence. She capsized in the pitch black of night, taking over 1,000 men with her. And then, nothing. For 71 years, she was a ghost. The world forgot where she lay. Until 2015, deep-sea explorers sent a robotic rover 1 kilometer straight down into the abyss. What they found was chilling. Musashi didn't just sink. As she plunged into the dark, a massive, undocumented underwater explosion tore her into fragments. Today, her bow sits upright, a silent, rusted tomb staring into the eternal darkness of the seafloor. Kongō, the midnight execution while Musashi died under a cloud of airplanes. The fate of the battlecruiser Kongō was entirely different. It was sinister. It happened in the dead of night, in the middle of a raging storm. And it proved that even the most feared predators can become the prey. November 21, 1944. The Formosa Strait. Kongō was fast, heavily upgraded, and highly experienced. She was navigating through zero-visibility waters, confident that the storm shielded her from harm. She was wrong. Slinking through the waves was the USS Celian, an American submarine. Through the dark, using primitive radar, the submarine crew tracked the massive shadow of Kongō. 2 torpedoes slammed into Kong's side. At first, the Imperial officers made a fatal mistake. They underestimated the damage. Kongō was a battlecruiser, she was tough. She kept sailing at 16 knots. But beneath the steel plates, the ocean was winning. The cracks were spreading. 2 hours later, the water reached the boiler rooms. The ship suddenly listed heavily to 45 degrees. Darkness swallowed the vessel as the power failed. And then, the ultimate horror. As the ship flipped over, the massive ammunition magazines in her underbelly detonated. A flash of white light illuminated the storm for a fraction of a second. When the smoke cleared, the ocean was empty. Kongō had disappeared into the deep in less than several minutes, taking 1,200 souls into the freezing current. She remains the only Japanese battleship ever sunk by a submarine. Yamato, the suicide mission. This leaves us with the ultimate titan. Yamato, the pride of a nation. Her guns were so powerful that their concussive blast could literally strip the clothes off her own crew. If they stood too close, by April 1945, Japan knew the war was lost. And so, they decided to use their greatest symbol for a final, terrifying act of desperation. Operation Tengo. Yamato was given a one-way ticket. She was fueled only enough to reach Okinawa. The plan? Run her aground on the beach, turn her into a massive, unmovable coastal battery, and have the crew fight to the last man. It was a suicide mission on a national scale. No air cover, no hope. The Americans intercepted her before she could even see the beaches of Okinawa. Over 300 aircraft descended on Yamato. They focused all their torpedoes on one side, the port side, to force her to capsize quickly. The deck turned into a slaughterhouse. As Yamato tilted, her massive 3,000-ton gun turrets slid off their mounts. crashing through the internal structure of the ship. When she turned completely upside down, the inevitable occurred. The main magazines exploded. The blast was so immense it created a mushroom cloud 6 kilometers high. The shockwave was felt by pilots miles away. It was, until the advent of the atomic bomb, one of the largest man-made explosions in history. Today, Yamato lies 340 meters down, split cleanly into two massive pieces of wreckage, surrounded by a field of debris that looks like a destroyed city. Yamato, Musashi, and Kongō. They were built to rule the world, but instead, they became monuments to the terrifying reality of modern warfare. They didn't just vanish, they were violently erased by a changing world. Which of these three final standoffs do you think was the most tragic? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button, and we will see you on the next investigation into the shadows of history.